Today I'll be talking about the causes of homelessness. My name is Cleopatra. I see them when I'm driving to school, when I'm driving to work, on every street. I see them along the train station, on the freeway, and they have become my friends. I'm talking about the homeless people. I took it upon myself to start an outreach program and started spending more time with them. And I realized that every homeless person has a story to tell. I learned that poverty, lack of affordable housing, loss of employment, domestic violence, mental health, or just low wages to meet the rent was some of the main causes of homelessness. Before I start talking about the causes of homelessness, I will define homelessness. The Department of Housing and Urban Development, HUD, defines homelessness as individuals and families who do not have a fixed, regular, and adequate nighttime residence. The homelessness crisis is an issue that affects communities in America. While homelessness is undoubtedly not a new problem, the organization End Homelessness reports that nationwide, homelessness grew by 2% between 2019 and 2020, with many speculating that the economic impact of COVID-19 extended and intensified the trend of poverty. According to the latest data from U.S. Census Bureau, namely the 2019 American Community Survey 5-year estimates, the U.S. poverty rate nationally is 13.4%. This means that 13.4% of national population lives below the poverty line. This equals more than approximately 42.5 million Americans living below the poverty line. Secondly, the high cost of housing is one of the factors. For example, an apartment in Morgan Hill is about $2,800. If a person's wages is about $15 or below an hour with tax, it would be so hard for that person to pay rent, to buy food, and put away savings for the future. Researchers found that a $100 increase in median rent was associated with a 9% increase, more people becoming homeless. Most Americans spend more than half their income on rent, which experts define as a severe housing cost burden. A global survey from Lincoln Institute of the Land Policy showed that out of 200 polled cities, 90% were considered unaffordable. Thus, nearly 4 million Americans are currently sharing living spaces. Sometimes, even though they get this income, they cannot even afford to share the living space, to pay for the living space, thus opting for the streets. Thirdly, loss of employment. Losing employment can be devastating, especially if one does not have savings and has no support. Since the cost of housing is high, these people may find themselves on the streets with no place to live. Another factor is domestic violence. When a woman decides to leave an abusive relationship, she often has nowhere to go. This particularly is true of women with few resources, lack of affordable housing, and long waiting lists for assistance housing. Means that many women and their children are forced to choose between an abusive home or to live on the streets. Lastly, I will talk about mental health. Numerous studies have reported that approximately 1/3 of homeless people have a serious mental illness, mostly schizophrenia or bipolar disorder. Mental illness can lead to an individual becoming homeless when it reaches the point where a person cannot take care of themselves properly anymore. Without support services or cheaper housing, these people will find themselves on the streets. And for them to get back to their normal positions, it would be hard because they would not have a fixed address. From the information, we may conclude that the causes of homelessness are many, but lack or affordable housing is one of the major factors. Unemployment and wage rates that fail to keep up with cost can also lead people into instability. often leading them down the path towards becoming homeless because they cannot afford their own living spaces, as well as provide themselves financially through employment. Now we all know that homelessness is not a choice, but a situation that victims find themselves in. Thank you.